When I started this piece, I wasn't really sure where I was going with it exactly. I had a few references, mostly of stills from different TV shows. This one in particular was from The Witcher, but I didn't like how cold and kind of desolate the background was for that image. So I instead decided to do something warmer and more hopeful. So you see me bringing in references of the character themselves. So with Nev, I often draw her just as she is with flat colors. I don't usually do anything to do with backgrounds or something like that. So this year I really wanted to push my art and present something that involved a lot of background illustration and try and uh, challenge myself to do different lighting schemes from what I usually do. That's not bad necessarily, especially with concept art, which is what I normally do. But I wanted this to have an actual setting, and I just took a stock photo of a general forest kind of background. I already had the character in place, so then it was just framing them correctly. And composition from there became pretty simple. So I wanted it to be very pretty, very alive, and to represent sort of like this journey that she's going on, even though all she's really doing is looking back at the viewer, or in this case, the people that she's traveling with. And then it became just a huge focus on the lighting of her. I worked with the shadows and the lighting a few different times. I did the shadow pass, I think twice, but the lighting, I switched it up 3 different times because I wasn't really liking the way it was looking. So you see me do the first pass for the shading here, and then I start erasing and restarting because it just looked messy, and I'm not very good at keeping my layers organized, so that's something to keep in mind for the future. When I started with the shading in the hair, I just wanted it to frame her face a lot better, and I wanted it to have movement because there's wind going through. So I tried to imply that there was something tossing her hair to the side even as she's turning to look back. And another thing that was very lost with the lighting the first time around was the dimple on her cheek. She doesn't often show them, but she does have them when she smiles genuinely, so it was a little bit frustrating to try and work that in without ruining the image. So here's the first pass of the lighting, and dark skin is very fun to paint. It absorbs colors in a lot of different ways that pale skin just doesn't. But I find that it's a lot harder to draw it sometimes. So I found the first time I did this, it was very orange, very yellow, and it kind of washed her out instead of making her look more live. So you'll see me go through it, and then I scrap it because it just wasn't looking the way I wanted it, especially on her cheekbone. So instead of trying to paint over, which is what I was trying here, I just decided to start over and try again because having a fresh perspective after I took a bit of a break tends to help me when I'm trying to focus. And then I went in to try and add in the environmental light. So a lot of oranges and blues from the sky, which I know a lot of people tend to call bounce light. But it's really just a reflection of her environment so that she actually looks more ingrained in the scene. I feel like I did a pretty good job, but this is one of my first times really doing this in any effective manner. I'm not very confident with my lighting techniques just yet, so I found this to be an exercise that was very useful for me. So I found that I didn't lose the shape of her face as much this time around because I went in and I colored over the lines and paid more attention to like the shape of her jaw and just already shaded her skin a little bit before I changed anything. So yeah, that's it. And this is the finished piece.